You guys are still watching me clean aquariums? All right, well, let's get into day 3 of the SS Aquascapes maintenance series. Now, in the first video, we did these aquariums here. In the second video, we did the aquarium below it. It would only make sense in the third video that we do this aquarium up here, kind of like reading a book. But this is SS Aquascapes, and I don't do things by the norm. So we're going to do this aquarium because it needs a lot of work. So let's get started. So to kick things off, here's what the aquarium looks like now, and I've got the ISO set to about the brightness that I see it. The right side is very shadowed, very dark. Here's what the aquarium looked like when I first set it up. A lot of people really enjoyed the woodwork in this aquarium, and here is where we're at now. Let me bump the ISO up so you can actually see what is going on. For those not familiar with ISO, I'm just doing the brightness. So here in the right hand side, now that I've bumped the brightness up, you can see it is overgrown with Hygger tripartita species Japan. Wonderful little plant, I love it, but boy, it has taken over. We also have another plant that's really trying to take over, and that is the Amazon frogbit. As you can see, it is growing all along the surface and even growing immersed. Always got to be adjusting the brightness to give you guys the best picture. There we go. So you can see this frogbit here, just growing all the way up to the light. And while it looks pretty cool, it is just shadowing absolutely everything in the aquarium. Looking down at ground level here, everything's looking pretty good. We've got our carpeting plant, which is doing really good. It took a long time for this to grow in, but the Elatine hydropiper is definitely doing a lot better. However, the growth of the Elatine hydropiper is compromised by the Hygger tripartita. And then finally, we've got some Fiston's moss that might need a little attention. Over here, again, in the shadow, you can't see. We've got other mosses that also need some attention as well. Now, I'll make a decision on what I want to do with this moss once I can see it more clearly. So let's start by getting this Amazon frogbit 100% removed. I'm going to put it in a bucket because I might put a piece or so back in there. But if you're an observant viewer, you may see that I don't even really need to save all of this frogbit. Now, as you see, this is my orange Neocaridina shrimp breeding tank, so I have to kind of shake all of these plants here, make sure there's no little shrimplets on the roots, and then I've got a tray down here. I'm just going to drop them all in the tray. There is a lot of frogbit in here, but it shouldn't take too long to get it out. Now this frogbit on the right, the roots are just all down inside of the Hygger tripartita. By the way, I forgot to mention there is a Nubius down here as well, but you kind of can't see it. But the reason I mention this root entanglement is I don't want to be moving any Hygger tripartita into another aquarium. If it gets wrapped up in these roots right here, I might inadvertently transfer it, or if I sell it to the fish store, I might inadvertently give them some. And so most of this frogbit that is immersed here, it's breaking anyway, so I'm probably going to have to just pitch it. But again, don't you worry, we have plenty of frogbit to go around, that's for sure. Look at this thing. It's actually going to pull a bunch of the Hygger out. Oh boy, this is going to be crazy. All right, let me see what I can get going here. I guess I'll show you how it turns out. All right, here's where we're at. All of the Amazon frogbit has been removed from the hydrocotyle as well as the surface of the water, so we have no more frogbit in the aquarium right now. Don't worry, I saved the good stuff here in a tray, and well, like I said, the bad stuff is in the trash can. It's not really bad. You're okay, little frogbit. You just might be infested with hydrocotyle. So now I've got to address all of the hydrocotyle tripartita. This section up here has been growing immersed, and I want to keep that for propagation because I am growing my plants immersed now for sale. And the stuff that has been submerged here, I'm going to keep it in a bucket. We're going to put some of it back in here, I do believe. I do kind of like the look, but we do have to calm it down a little bit. I just noticed there's a piece of Riccia that somehow got into the aquarium and it has taken root in the moss and growing. Little shrimp's got like an amusement park ride. All right, I'm gonna get in here and take this particular clump off and save it in one container, and then we'll start pulling out some of the rest of this. Hey, we can see the wood again from when we first set the aquarium up. And of course, there's a lot more shrimp than we had anticipated. Now you can kind of see that there was a Nubius also in the aquarium, though I guess you saw that in the beginning when I had the initial setup photo. But I still got some work to do here. We've got some hydrocotyle that is down here again on the carpeting plant. So I'm going to pull all that stuff out and we'll take a look at the barren aquarium. Now this tripartita that is down here in the substrate has actually taken root, and well, it's got its roots down in the substrate. I can feel it breaking as I pull it out. I am wondering if this is going to grow back. We might have an issue where the tripartita just continues to bloom down here, grow down here in the substrate, but we will see. I'll do my best to try and get it out as clean as possible. Alright guys, as I was removing this one piece of tripartita that is kind of woven its way through this Physidens moss, it's apparent that the Physidens moss is coming out with it. This was a propagation rock that I kind of put in here with some Physidens, and it was not part of the original scape. I am going to go ahead and pull the Physidens out as well because I don't want to break it all up and have Physidens moss floating all over the aquarium. I'll probably cultivate it. As you can see, I have plenty left in the aquarium. Alright, you can see I have a tray of Physidens moss I'm already propagating here. I made some space in the back and I cleaned out all the tripartita from this moss. We're just going to grab these chunks and kind of toss them back there. We'll propagate it in here for sale. Alright, we're looking a lot better here, closer to how the aquarium looked when I first set it up. Now some things that I'm going to finish up doing here. We've got some Physidens moss that was grown immersed here. I'm going to remove it because it's full of tripartita roots and I don't want to kind of mix that stuff up. Over here, if I can change your focus, on this branch we've got some Physidens as well that is growing kind of immersed. We want to make sure we get that off of there. It will grow back, guys, don't worry about it. You always leave a little bit of moss left over when you remove this stuff, so it'll grow back and do its thing. Also, possibly very controversial, but I'm going to remove these balls of Physidens moss here. They are very loose. They're kind of overgrown. I'm going to go ahead and propagate them or move them into like a little container for sale, as well as this ball of Physidens and the one back here as well. All of this is going to get removed. Again, there will be a little bit left over, so it will grow back and it gives me something to observe. Kind of doing a reset on the aquarium. Also ended up getting like a little Java moss down here underneath the Physidens. I don't know where that came from, but we'll get that removed as well. All right, there we go. Looking much, much cleaner. Now, some of you may say it looks a little barren, but I think it looks a lot cleaner. Now, before I go and drain the water, clean the filter and all that good stuff, the aqua soil I had built up with some rocks back here, it has settled and kind of gone through the rocks. So I'm going to reach in there, remove a bunch of these rocks because it just kind of looks unsightly. And then I have to decide if I would like to put the tripartita back in that corner Or do I want to just let all of the Elatine Hydropiper work its way back there and just kind of have a flat carpet all across the aquarium? I'm not quite sure yet. I'll make a decision, but drop a comment. Tell me what you would do, because I like to see what you guys think. All right, guys, I've made a decision. I am not going to put the Hydrocotyle tripartita back in this aquarium. It grows too fast. Everything else in here is kind of slow growing, like all the nice Anubias in here. And then we've got Frazeri, and I think it's called Frazeri, the longer ones in the back, and then the Barteri in the front here. I like the way it looks, kind of minimal, and then I got to thinking, I know the perfect filler plant for the back area. That's going to be some Cryptocoryne Pink Flamingo. Now these guys here are pretty much full grown. I pulled them out of the 75-gallon aquarium, and I think adding a little pinky brown is going to accent the wood in here, and it'll look good to fill in that back corner so it doesn't look quite as barren, but it's slow growing, and I won't have to do as much maintenance. And as you guys know, I am going as low maintenance as possible on all of my aquariums. So I'm going to stick these guys in there. They should look good. I'll give you a preview, then I'm going to scrub down all the glass, drain the water, etc., etc. Let's get these guys in there and see how it looks. All right, we've got the Cryptocorynes planted here. Kind of hard to see. The water is a little bit cloudy, so it's difficult for you guys to see, but they are back there in the corners. It is cloudy because I dumped some Fluval stratum in here. That is the substrate that we're using. You can see by the little bubbles there. So that covers up the rocks in the back there. So for you guys to see the final product here, I'm going to have to get in here and scrub the glass and drain the water and clean the filter and all that good stuff. So I'm going to do all that off camera, and we'll be back with some final shots. Oh yeah, now that's a nice looking aquarium right there. Boy, this thing has needed maintenance for many, many weeks, and quite frankly, I've just been way too lazy to do it. But this series has motivated me to get it under control. So now that the water is clear, we can see our Cryptocoryne back there. I do kind of like the way it's laying over right now against the Anubias, though I'm sure once it takes root, it'll straighten itself out, kind of fight the current. But I love how you can see all of the Anubias right here, the Frazeri and the Barteri, really cool. You can see we've got a little bit of green algae on our wood here, but I'm sure the shrimp will take care of that in no time since there's so many in here. Overall, there's not really too much more to say about the aquarium. I guess the only thing left to do would be reward the shrimp for their cooperation while I rescaped this aquarium. Let's drop some food in there and see if they enjoy a little snack this evening. Well guys, I think I broke the shrimp because normally they swarm on their food, but it's been about 15 minutes and only a couple of them have decided that they want to take a snack break. In reality, what I'm guessing is that most of the shrimp are enjoying all of the newly exposed wood and stuff like that. They just kind of seem to be hanging out everywhere that the tripartita used to be covering up. Must be some good snacky stuff all over the wood and the plants. So that's going to do it for video 3 of this series, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it. We actually did some serious maintenance in this episode. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing more maintenance. Might not be as much, but still going to be pretty cool. I absolutely love the next aquarium that we're doing. So I will see you guys in that video tomorrow. Thanks for watching.